Kevin Durant, yes, that Kevin Durant, has officially been traded to the Houston Rockets and might never play a game. Whether you're a Rockets fan, a KD hater, or just someone who enjoys chaos in the NBA, this move matters more than you think. Not just because it shakes up the Western Conference, not just because it redefines KD's legacy, but because this trade says something loud and clear. The Rockets are done playing around. Kevin Durant getting traded wasn't the surprise, the writing was on the wall in Phoenix. The Suns were spiraling, the fit was awkward, and the Big Three experiment with Booker, Beal, and Durant had all the signs of a luxury tax disaster waiting to happen. But Houston? That caught everyone off guard. They were rebuilding, stockpiling draft picks, developing their young guys like Jalen Green, Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr., Amen Thompson, and Cam Whitmore. All high upside guys, all under 23 years old. Nobody expected the Rockets to blow up the rebuild this fast and swing for a superstar. Reports coming out of the situation suggest KD was stunned by the destination. Was he blindsided? Maybe. Was he frustrated? Definitely. Because Kevin Durant is 36, he's got a few years left at his absolute peak, and he wants one thing: another ring. And when he looked around the league, he saw teams with better chances right now than Houston.
So why did Phoenix sit in there? Simple. Houston had the best offer. The draft capital, the cap flexibility, the young talent that Phoenix thought could help them reset their future. This wasn't about KD's preferences. This was business, and Durant is not happy about it, at least not yet. This isn't just a KD story, it's a Houston Rockets story. This trade marks a complete philosophical pivot for the franchise. No more tanking, no more trust the process, no more developmental seasons. This is a win now move. They didn't just add a role player, they added a Hall of Famer, a former MVP, one of the most unstoppable scorers this league's ever seen. They're saying to their young core, we believe in you, but we're done waiting. And they're saying to the rest of the league, we're coming. It's bold, it's risky, but it might just work, because if Durant stays healthy, and that's a big if, he could elevate this team immediately. KD gives you 25-30 points a night, elite shot creation, spacing, and late game shot making, and more importantly, he gives you credibility. The Rockets are no longer just a team with potential, they're a team with expectations. On paper, the fit is actually kind of beautiful. Alperen Şengün, who's been quietly evolving into a playmaking big, could thrive with a scorer like KD on the wing. Jalen Green no longer has to carry the scoring load every night. He can slash, cut, and play more freely. Jabari Smith, he becomes a perfect complementary stretch forward. Amen Thompson brings defensive intensity and elite athleticism at the guard spot, something KD's previous teams often lacked. And let's not forget the coaching upgrade. Ime Udoka brings a no-nonsense, defensive-minded approach that could actually mold this team into a playoff caliber roster. Durant fits that system perfectly. Long, switchable, skilled, and smart. This isn't just about adding a name, this is about building something real. But here's the catch, this feel-good moment, it didn't last long. KD, understandably, is not just going to show up, smile for pictures, and act like this was his dream scenario. Behind the scenes, negotiations have already gotten complicated. Reports suggest Durant has not fully committed to staying long-term. There's talk of a potential contract renegotiation, or even a holdout if certain conditions aren't met. He wants clarity on the roster, on the direction, on his role, on the money. Houston, meanwhile, is trying to keep their young core intact and stay under the second apron, and that's not easy. You can feel the tension already bubbling under the surface. The Rockets have made their move. The league has taken notice, and the fans are watching closely. If this works, we could be witnessing the birth of a true contender, a team that blends veteran greatness with youthful explosion, a team that could shake up the West, push into the playoffs, maybe even make a deep run. But if it doesn't work, if KD doesn't buy in, if the chemistry doesn't click, if the front office fumbles this rare opportunity, then the Rockets risk setting their rebuild back years. They've gone all in, and there's no turning back. Let's not ignore the legacy question here. KD's been chasing validation ever since he left OKC. Golden State gave him rings, but not respect. Brooklyn gave him headlines, but not wins. Phoenix gave him hope, but not results. Now he's in Houston, a place with no championships, no superstars, and no guarantees. If he leads this team to playoff success, if he mentors this young core and adds a ring to his resume as the undisputed alpha, that changes everything. That's legacy.
That's history. But if it crashes and burns, the noise gets louder and the critics return. Donnie's place among the all-time greats gets even murkier. So yeah, this trade was more than a transaction. It was a statement, a risk, a shot in the dark that could light up Houston or blow up in their faces. Durant to the Rockets may not have been what he wanted, but it might be what the league needed. A bold move in an era of safe plays. The 2025 NBA season just got a whole lot more interesting. So, Kevin Durant is in Houston. The Rockets pulled off a blockbuster trade, brought in one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, and signaled they're ready to win now. But there's one massive question lingering. Why hasn't KD signed an extension yet? Because as of today, no deal, no long-term commitments, no handshake, nothing. And the reasons why might surprise you. After the trade, fans and analysts assumed it was a done deal. You get KD, you lock him in. Simple, right? Well, no. Because the Rockets haven't offered Durant a full max extension, and it's not just about timing or logistics. We're talking about real separation in negotiations. Even crazier, Durant may not even be asking for the full max, but Houston is still holding the line. Durant is eligible for a 2-year, $122 million max extension. If he signs it, that would take him off the 2026 free agent market, keep him in Houston through age 39, lock in leadership and scoring for their playoff window. Until this extension is signed or officially declined, the tension won't go away. KD wants clarity, the Rockets want control, and every game, every press conference, every tweet will be under the microscope. One wrong move and things could unravel fast. What makes Houston's handling of the Durant situation even more fascinating is that it fits a clear pattern, a strategy the front office has been using for a while now. This isn't some knee-jerk reaction or outlier decision. It's part of a calculated approach built on leverage and long-term control. Take Jalen Green. He didn't get the full max either. Instead, he signed a shorter, below-max extension that lets him hit free agency sooner. It gave him flexibility and gave Houston cap savings. That's a win-win and exactly the kind of deal that keeps this roster flexible. Alperen Sengun got paid, sure, a stalled multi-year deal, but again, it wasn't a max. The way the contract is structured gives the Rockets security and upside. If Sengun keeps developing, the deal looks like a steal. If not, they're not overcommitted. Jabari Smith Jr., same story. Another young talent locked in, but not at a max number. Houston is betting on their scouting and player development, but they're not blindly throwing money around. They want team-friendly deals that scale with production, not potential. And then there's Fred VanVleet. Houston actually declined his team option, let him hit the open market, and then re-signed him for less. Why? Because they read the room. They knew the market had dried up and used that knowledge to negotiate from a position of strength. That's what this is all about. Discipline, foresight, and control. The Rockets have made it clear. They don't hand out max extensions just because a player is talented or popular. Every deal is a negotiation. Every dollar has a purpose. And even Kevin Durant, one of the greatest players of all time, isn't immune to that philosophy. So why isn't Kevin Durant getting the max? I mean, he's Kevin Durant, a walking bucket, former MVP, two-time finals MVP, and one of the greatest scorers this game has ever seen. But even with all that, Houston is hesitating, and it's not without reason. Durant's value is obvious. He instantly elevates your offense. He draws defenders like gravity. He brings playoff experience and a championship pedigree. But the risk? That's harder to ignore now than ever before. He's entering his late 30s, his durability's slipping, the games missed are stacking up year after year, and the injuries, especially to his lower body, are no longer just part of his past. They're part of the reality of managing him every season. Then there's the recent track record. His run in Phoenix didn't end well. That wasn't entirely his fault, sure, but it added another chapter to a narrative that's been building. Before that, he asked out of Brooklyn. Before that, he left Golden State. And every time, it's come with some form of fallout, whether it's drama, instability, or distractions inside the locker room. From Houston's perspective, handing him a full max extension doesn't just mean 2 more years of elite play. It means committing over $100 million to a player with a complicated recent history, uncertain availability, and the potential to shake up a young, developing culture. It's a gamble, financially, culturally, and strategically. And even when the player is Kevin Durant, that kind of bet has to be made with caution. Now here's where things get even trickier. The money. Houston's payroll isn't just rising, it's about to explode. Sengun and Jabari Smith already have their new deals locked in. Amen Thompson is next in line, and with his trajectory, you can bet that rookie max ascension is coming. Fred VanVleet's still on the books, even at a reduced price. And let's not forget the offseason additions. Clint Capella and Dorian Finney-Smith, both brought in to add depth and toughness. Oh, and the front office? They're still eyeing another star next summer if the right opportunity comes along. But the NBA's new CBA rules? They're not playing around. The luxury tax penalties are brutal. Teams that spend too much face real consequences. No mid-level exception, fewer trade options, and tighter restrictions on how you can build a roster. So this isn't just about Durant's value, it's about the bigger picture. If Houston maxes out KD now, they risk locking themselves into a financial corner. But if they save even $10 million on his deal, that could mean the difference between adding a solid rotation piece or sitting on the sidelines while other teams make moves. The Rockets are trying to thread the needle. Stay competitive today without sacrificing tomorrow. And that's exactly why they're being so careful with every contract, even when it's Kevin Durant's. After all the posturing, the behind-the-scenes negotiations, and Houston's careful financial chess moves, the most likely outcome? A deal gets done, but not at the full max. Durant will sign an extension, just not the one people assumed. Houston clearly values him. You don't give up assets and shift your franchise direction unless you believe he can help you compete for a title. They know they need him to push this team to a conference finals, maybe even further.
And they believe that a motivated, locked-in KD can raise the ceiling of their young core in ways no one else could. But they're also not going to fold. This is a front office that's playing long-term. They're not going to overpay just to keep a big name happy. They're thinking 2-3 moves ahead about cap space, trade opportunities, and internal growth. So the deal will happen. Durant will stay in Houston, just under the terms Houston feels keep them competitive now and later, because that's been the strategy all along. Kevin Durant's move to Houston wasn't just a blockbuster trade. It was a franchise-defining moment. But it's far from settled. What we're seeing right now is bigger than one player. Houston is rewriting the rules on how extensions are handled in today's NBA. The old playbook where stars held all the leverage doesn't apply here. The Rockets are flipping the script. Team leverage is in. Financial control is king. Durant is still an elite talent, no question. But he's also a high-stakes investment. Houston knows that. They want to win now, but not at the cost of the future. So they're playing the long game, staying disciplined, calculating every move, and refusing to break their structure for anyone. This could go one of two ways. Either it becomes a blueprint for modern roster construction, a masterclass in how to balance superstar ambition with organizational control, or it blows up and becomes yet another cautionary tale about trying to outmaneuver a generational talent on a ticking clock. Only time will tell which story gets written. Do you think Houston is making a smart business move or blowing it with a generational star? Let me know in the comments. If you're enjoying this type of breakdown, hit that subscribe button and like the video to keep the content coming. We've got more updates coming soon. You're watching Hoop Lockdown.